Okay, I'm just making a simple example here to show this thing that happens in the human body that you might want to use for animation. I don't know, probably most of you will not, but some of you might need some of the details here, and I just figured I'd show this. So what this is you'll see here when the arm comes out, how the ball of the socket actually drops down. Okay, now I could have keyframed this very easily, but I wanted to actually make it dynamic so you didn't have to even think about it. And so I did. And so I'm just going to show that real quick. I have two locator points, and I call it the shoulder pivot, and then I call this the hand locator, but it's not the hand. It's just what I needed to make a vector along the humerus. So I didn't really name those that very well. But these are just constrained to the humerus, or actually to the bone here, this thing. And I know when you get in here talking about bones, it gets confusing. But I'm just going to show you a real simple example that gets the point across as to how I did this. And it's very straightforward. What I have here is, pretend this is the ball of the humerus, and this is the angle of the humerus. So these are those two locators. And what I have here is if I move this and change the angle, the thing drops. And you are through here all the way up to 180. Now when I get past that, it goofs up, okay? So this only works for this. You'd have to put in if-then statements to try to get it to work, but and do it a little differently. But this is how I have this. Now it doesn't matter where I go out here, and it doesn't matter if I go on the other axis. So I'll just show you how I do this. It's actually really simple once you see it. It just took me a little while to figure it out. And other more veteran users in Maya probably go, this is pretty stupid, but I think this is pretty neat. So what I did here is I just went to and used expressions. So if you go to this little thing here, Windows, Animation Editors, Expression Editor, and this is how we did it. Now let me get rid of some of this. I don't need all this extra code here. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. That was just for an example. And I don't need to even print this. So let's just get that out of the way. So this is the code. Now, the whole vector thing I had to go and learn more of. I kind of forgot. But anyway, what I do is I start with a downward vector, and this is just down in the y direction. So that's the point. So here's the y is up and down, and you see this the z here is to the left here. I know it's hard to see that, but it's y and z axis that I am moving the shoulder on, that I want the angle. I don't care if the arm is behind the person or if the arm's in front of them. I always want the angle basically on this zy plane. So what I do here is I just have this downward vector, and it's just straight down on the y. Now this is referenced from 0. And then what I have to do is I have to go make the vector for the arm. And there might be nicer ways to do this, but this is just a real something simple where you just take the x. So you got the 2 points, right? You got the hand locator point and the shoulder pivot, not point, it's a helper, they call it that. They call it a locator in Maya. But I take the x's of the two and I subtract them. I take the y's, subtract them. I take the z's, subtract them, and that's the differential. And so diff x, diff y, diff z, and then I actually make a vector out of those three. And so here's the vector I made. Now I eliminate the x, so that the x in both of these is 0, so that when I'm moving along the x, it doesn't matter. Because I don't even need this whole thing here. I could just zoom this out here, but I added it just for the fun of it, so you could see it. But you don't even need that because I'm just making it 0 here. I don't use that, in other words. And then what I do is I just make an angle so I can get a 0 to 180 degrees. And so you use this angle function, and you give it the 2 vectors, and then I just change and that returns a radians. So I do radians to degrees. It doesn't really matter. It's just change this factor right here. So then what I do is I just do a translate. So I take the sphere and I make the translation based on its initial starting point of 4 minus the angle times some factor, just to get it so it doesn't go off the screen. Because I don't want it to go down 180, on the what would it be, the y. So I only have it going down just a smaller amount than that. So that's all there is to it. That's in a general sense, that is all there is to it. So that's kind of neat here. So again, when I move this, it just drops. And so I'm obviously dropping it way more than I want the shoulder to drop, but anyway, why is it coming back there? Oh, I think I just, wrong angle here. Yeah, I was just looking at it weird, so I was going past the point. So that's all there is to that. Now in the actual model, what I did here, let's just go back to the original file. So what I did here is the same thing. So I have these 2 points here, and to go to expressions, you might have to learn a little bit about expressions, but I go to animation. I've got Camtasia hovering over that. Animation editors, expression editor, and what I did is I did make an expression, so make sure you're in by expressions by name. There's the expression, and this is really all I got here is just this. So again, I don't need, I always got to look at the axes that I'm working with here. It's the same. Oops, do that. Gotta move this screen. So yeah. So again, it's so here it's X Y. So I changed it a little bit here because I had the other one just rotated. But anyway, this is so here I'm now on the X Y axis. So I take out the Z. I don't care about the Z component. So here again, Z is 0 by default, and then down here I put 0 for the Z, because I just don't want, I don't want, if the arm goes back or forward, I just don't want that. And so that's all there is to that. And so that there's the vector converted again. This is just here for testing. Those do show up here if you're ever interested. They'll show up here in the script editor. Those things, the print statements, and so then I do the float again, and here what I did is I just changed the rotation based on the angle instead of literally making it go up and down, because I want this thing in a chain, the bone system. So here I just changed the angle of this, and I'm working with this axis right here, the rotate Z, and so that's it. I just take the whole name there, which is rather long. You can see it right here. So I can copy, just click that, copy paste with Control C, and then I come down here and change the rotate Z, and then I make it based on some value that looks right. Now you'll see here it's got that little purple thing. That means that I cannot change this. I can't, go in and put in another number here and give me an error saying that it is locked or connected to something. It cannot be modified because it is connected to this code right here. Now if I go take this out and hit edit, you'll see this disappear. So watch that. Okay, so now it disappears, and so now it's not connected. So now I could literally go change it, but anyway, I want it in there. I have to hit edit to save it and to make it function. And now you'll see that purple thing comes back again, and then and it works. So now as I move the arm out, now that is keyframed. I have down here just a little controller. So if you click that, you can actually move that, and that's, you can see the keyframes there. So that's what's actually moving the arm, and that's all there is to it. This little thing here actually changes the elbow angle. So that too is just a constraint that I kind of actually forgot how I did that. Maybe I made a video on that, but I'm not going to put that up. I think this is kind of basic stuff. This is taught in a lot of different things. You can do this for legs, and so anyway. But what I wanted to show is this drop down concept here, based on that. And the reason why that has to physically happen is otherwise this bumps up against the acromion. So it wouldn't work in real life. This has to drop down in the software too. I don't want this bumping into the bone, especially since I'm going to be using Ziva to make the muscles. So anyway, you can't have bones crashing into one another, and I might have to drop it even a little bit more. But again, that's real simple to do. Oops, closed the wrong one. Again, Windows, Animation Editors, Expression Editor. Click the objects. I can do this times like 0.45 maybe. Oops. 4.5. Just give it a little bit more drop. You saw that happen there, so yeah, that's a little bit better. So now it's not touching there at all. Anyway, but I thought that might be interesting for some people, and I'm going to try the same kind of a trick, something similar to this maybe for the knee. Because in the human body, the real things that are difficult are the shoulder and the knee are kind of the big things, because the knee too does not work on a pivot. It seems like it's a pivot, but it's not. It's literally sliding in this weird movement. So I got some ideas there too how I'm going to do that. But I just thought this would be interesting for some people for the few people that would run across this problem for whatever they're doing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.